Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
What happens to you if you never meet your soulmate? And then we take a look at the story of a young man who decides to do something nice for his girlfriend. Buy her a stuffed animal from one of her favorite video games. Little does he know he's not bringing home a terrific toy, but instead, a possessed plushie. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. We got a ton of stuff to cover today. So first off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Everyone get on your feet and give it up for Kamau and Kendra. Woohoo! Yeah, ha! They're running on into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Kamau and Kendra, I'm doing a new thing. I don't know how long I'll keep doing it. For this week, I will, but we'll see. This week and part of next week is Listener Story Week. Why don't you just put them all in the same week? I had the whole UFO thing threw me for a loop. I had to cover that. So we're having 2 terrifying tales submitted by you listeners, and then one of those next week, 3 episodes in total, just in a weird order. And this week, the people who submit their stories, their personal experiences, will also be the pilots of the vehicles. I don't know if that's something I can keep going on in the future, because I have a list of Patreon people who still haven't gotten their shout out. I got a lot of people from the Oregon Ghost Conference who still need the shout out, but I figured what a fun treat maybe. Kamau and Kendra, they sent a story we will get to in a second. I'm all confused. How do I do my intro? But if you don't have a story to send me, if you guys can't support the show financially, that's totally fine. It really is. Man, I really go off script. What's the next part? That's okay. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Also, I can't believe I neglected this. I've been waiting for this movie for months. I, unfortunately, will not be able to see it in the theater. It's not coming to my town. But longtime listeners of Dead Rabbit Radio know what a huge fan I am of Curry Barker. We discovered him randomly during one of our movie nights, Dead Rabbit Radio movie nights. Randomly, we find all these shorts. One of them was The Chair. It's one of the best short horror things I've ever seen. Absolutely fantastic. And I began following him around. I began hiding in his bushes. I began looking at everything. I was like, this kid's so talented. He's in his 20s. This kid's so talented. I hope he breaks through. And he has. He has. Curry Barker's new movie, his first movie, he made a movie on YouTube called Milk and Cereal for like $8,000. That's what got him noticed by the studios. Obsession. Obsession comes out this weekend. Unfortunately, it's an hour away, and I'm not that comfortable of a driver. I've only been driving for a couple months, and driving at night down roads I'm unfamiliar with. I won't be able to see it at the theater, but I will do what I've done before. I'll buy a ticket. I'll buy a ticket and just not show up, so I'll support the movie that way. I'm going to watch it the second it hits streaming. I'll rent it, buy it, whatever. Dead Rabbit Radio recommends, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I recommend you go see Obsession this weekend. This is not an ad read. This is true passion. You know, I see these young dudes, right, making content, and I hope they break through. I see these young guys putting out stuff, and I hope that they break through. And Curry Barker actually has 2 more movies ready. He's just filmed a movie with Aaron Paul. And then he is helmed, which is my favorite horror movie franchise. It's embarrassing that I say it's one of my favorites. Final Destination, I really love those movies as well. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I've seen every Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Most of them I enjoy. It does involve cannibalism, and everyone knows I have that huge vor fetish. I don't, but people think that I do. Now it's become a joke. Corey Barker is writing and directing the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's like, bro, hats off to you. Hats off to you. And hats off to all of you out there working on your own projects. So really, like, it's really cool to see. Kirby Barker doesn't know who I am, right? He's never emailed me or anything like that. But to see a guy, he just was consistently making stuff on YouTube over and over and over and again for years. And now he's directing 3 movies. And Obsession looks fantastic, by the way. Anyways, I wish I could go, but I hope you guys do get to go see it. You guys can tell me how it is. Kamau and Kendra, let's get this party started. I'm going to go ahead and toss you the keys to the Jason Jalopy. Everyone climb on board. This lovable old hunk of junk is Kendra and Kamau. Drive us out of Dead Rabbit Radio Command all the way out to a neighborhood in Anywhere, USA. Nice leisurely drive out to this quaint, quiet neighborhood. When I say that, my neighbor's dog starts barking. I was like, okay, well, anyways, I don't know if the mic's picking it up, but we're headed all the way out there. Kendra and Kamau, their story will come up next. And here's a choice. Which one's scarier to you? Which one do you find more disturbing? You know what I mean? Kamau and Kendra, they're like ours, the one we lived. I don't know. You might want to hear this first one before you vote. We're about to meet a young boy. We don't have his real name. We're going to call him Jake. He's 10 years old. It's nighttime. He's laying in bed. He's trying to get some sleep. It's like late at night. But he has a hard time falling asleep. And he goes, I had a hard time falling asleep for a long time as a kid because I always had nightmares. So I'd just kind of toss and turn and eventually just be too exhausted to stay up. And then I'd fall asleep. But it's not a fun process. So on this particular night, he's not asleep. He's just laying in bed hoping that eventually he can catch some Z's. When all of a sudden he hears a car pull up outside his house. But that probably doesn't describe it well. The car screeches to a halt. Right outside of his house. He's like, what is that? But before he can really get up and look out the window to wonder whose car it was and why it's driving so violently through the neighborhood, he hears a car door open, and then a woman begins to scream his name. Not shout it, he says. It was like a blood-curdling scream. Jake! 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 3 times, top of her lungs. She could have been screaming anyone's name. The way she was saying it sent chills down his spine, but the fact that it was Jake's name made it even scarier. He then hears the car door shut, the car speeds off, and then off in the distance, not too far away, but no longer right outside his house, off in the distance he hears another. He's like, whoa, what was that? You have multiple questions. Mostly, why was someone outside my house screaming my name? Then you go, did a car accident just happen? I heard it screech when it pulled up outside my house, but then I heard it screech off in the distance and then like a crash. But this time the screech ended with the so oh, Jason, I gathered that. I gathered how the sequence of events were. Well, anyways, it's the sound of a car crash is what he hears. Well, he immediately jumps out of bed and runs into his parents' room. This terrifies him. He doesn't know what's going on. This really sounds like it's probably an adult problem. A car accident? It's something you gotta tell adults about. I mean, screaming your name is a you problem, but then a car accident, kids can't really handle that. He runs in his room and he's like, Mom, wake up. Dad's dead asleep. Dad's like, I've taken enough sleeping pills. I didn't hear any of this. Mom, wake up. And Mom's like, honey, what is it? Oh, I was just laying in bed and some woman pulled up and like screamed my name 3 times and then took off. You didn't hear that? It was super loud. And then I think I just heard a car crash. And Mom is looking at Jake and she goes, honey, it's a nightmare, right? You have a ton of nightmares. That's why you have a hard time sleeping in the first place. It was just a dream. None of that happened. Go back to bed. Jake, he kind of looks at his mom and, oh, okay, but I was awake. I don't think it was a dream. Honey, go back to bed. Go back to bed. So Jake does walk back into his bedroom and he's thinking, that was weird. Like, I mean, I guess it could have been a dream. Nobody else heard it. It was so loud. It was right outside our house. Must have just been a weird dream. My mom must be right. So he goes to sleep. Not immediately. Now he's definitely wired. He's going to be up for longer, but eventually he does fall asleep. The next morning, when he comes to the kitchen for breakfast, "Hey, Mom, how's it going?" "Oh, hey, Jake. It's good to see you're up. Okay, making breakfast for you." Yeah, good, I'm hungry. That was weird last night, wasn't it? That I had that dream? Like, you said that was that dream, but I've never, like, I'm sure I was awake, but that was crazy. You remember me waking you up and telling you about the car accident stuff? And the mom goes, "Yeah, Jake, actually, I need to talk to you about that. That all happened. I heard it all, too." And he's like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, I heard a car screech outside her house and some woman started screaming your name. And then it sounded like there was a car crash away from our house." Jake's like, "Why didn't you say that was real? You told me it was fake." She goes, "Because you would have freaked out. Obviously, there's someone screaming your name right outside the house in the middle of the night." She goes, "I told you it was a nightmare because you needed to go back to bed. I don't know what it was. I think," as the mom continued, this is the mom's theory, "it was some teenagers pulling a prank. So I wasn't going to put on my bathrobe and go downstairs with you and try to figure out who this was or what happened. It's probably just some local teenagers acting up. But I lied to you. It was not a dream. I heard all of it too." Jake goes, "Okay." I mean, think about it, dude. I don't like to use the term gaslighting a lot. I think it's overused. This is kind of a perfect example of that. But even if you don't want to get fancy, she straight up lied to him. And I can understand why, because yeah, what could they do? It's not like the car crashed into their house. There's someone bleeding in their living room, gets thrown through the windshield. "Oh no, it's just the dream. The fire alarm's going off." No. That's your dream too. Smoke as the engine catches fire downstairs. What are you going to do? It's probably just teenagers. What are you going to do? It would freak him out if I told him I heard it too. So she lied to him. He says after breakfast, me and my mom, we were going to go shopping at the mall. And we begin driving through our neighborhood, taking the normal route we do to get to the mall. They get a couple blocks up from their house, and that is where he sees there had been a huge car accident recently. It wasn't there the previous day, but it's here now. He goes, "We're driving by and there's a car wrapped around a tree. There was police tape still up, but other than that, all medical personnel was gone. Whoever was in the car was gone." He goes, "I can't imagine anyone surviving an accident like that." And they just continued driving to the mall. Now Jake goes, "Listen, I didn't see the car that pulled up outside my house. I don't know if that was the same car. I don't. I know looking at the wreckage of the car, it didn't look familiar to me. So it wasn't anybody that I knew who drove a car like that." He goes, "I also didn't recognize the woman's voice. So I have no idea who it is. My mom just thinks it was some teens, and then there happened to be a car accident. This has puzzled Jake all these years. He just can't make sense of it." This is a story that when I read it, I go, I always look for holes in stories. As much as I want to believe stories, I always look for stuff that could be odd. I thought, how long would a car remain wrapped around a tree? Because I've come across some pretty gnarly car accidents. I talked about it. There's one of the earlier times that I had seen a ghost. I put the episode in the show notes. I'm sure that I covered it. Where I came across a car accident and a car had hit a tree. One woman, the driver was still alive, but she was screaming, "I can't move, I can't move, I can't move." Not because she was pinned in by any of the vehicle, but because something had been, her neck had broken or something like that. I don't know. She was sitting there motionless, but she was screaming, "I can't move, I can't move, I can't move." So I'm assuming she was paralyzed either from the neck down or the waist down or whatever, but she wasn't moving her arms or her legs. The passenger was dying, and I was on that side of the car, and I watched her die. I was sitting there, and I watched this young woman die. We were probably around the same age at the time. She might have been a little bit older. I think I was probably in my early 20s. She might have been like 24, 25. She was a mother. She might have been even older, actually, now I think about it. She was a mother and a wife, because other people pulled up to the scene who knew her. They were coming home from a club. And by the next day, the car was gone. So when I saw that the next morning the car is still wrapped around the tree, I had to look it up. I go, well, how long would a car be wrapped around a tree? It can be a couple hours. And depending on when this happened, if he heard the noise happen at 3 in the morning and now they're going to the mall at 5, you think they would have removed the car, but they have to bring out a tow service, especially if they have to gather evidence of the scene. That can take longer and things like that. There's 2 ways to look at this story. And one is that someone pulled up outside of his house, yelled his name 3 times. It was a prank and they got in a horrible car accident. I almost feel like that story you would have picked up details from the neighbors. They would have been like, oh my God, did you hear those locals from high school got in that horrible car accident? It was like, right outside my house. It wasn't many blocks away from where Jake lived. So you would talk to your neighbors about that because neighbors talk about horrible things that happen in the neighborhood. This is my read on it, though. That, and this is going to take several leaps of logic, right? So put on our conspiracy caps for this. This is my read on it. The car never pulled up outside of his house in the first place. I would even argue that he and his mother didn't even hear the car accident as it happened. Damn it. This is just like what happened with yesterday's story, where I had a theory, and then when I started explaining it, I go, wait a second. Let me explain this, and let me explain this. So anyways, you're checking your watch, and I go, great. This is my theory. That the car did get involved in a car accident, but not at the time that they heard the car get in a car accident. What? Okay, let me explain it. Put on that conspiracy cap. I can say whatever I want now. This is my read on it. The woman was Adam's soulmate. And she never pulled up outside of the house physically, but that was her soul screaming out the name of her future lover. When he's old enough. She's not creepy. But you know, there's age difference, right? Maybe she's in her 20s. How old is he? Is he 10? Did we actually see how old he is? He is 10. Okay. Maybe she's 18. No, I would assume she would be old enough that locals wouldn't know her. Maybe she is in her 20s. But she's not going to date him. Like, Jason, why'd you add that detail? That's not in it at all. You're like, oh, this pedophile pulled up beside a boy's house, started screaming, playing Michael Jackson. He's like, it's so weird. I heard Michael Jackson's greatest hits bumping out of the car stereo. Okay, so let me say, let me try to recalibrate this. Okay, forget the age gap. Forget a 25, 30-year-old woman screaming out a 10-year-old boy's name. This is what I'm saying. His soulmate died that night, and he never even met her. His soulmate died in a car accident, and when she died, she realized that she never got with her true love, a 10-year-old boy. No, but like, their true love was when he was older. So he was 20 and she was 30, and they met at an accounting firm or something like that. Or she was his professor in college. But what I'm saying is that his true love died that night. And in that moment of death, she saw not only her own life story that we hear in so many near-death experiences, but she saw the life that was never to be. And that was her making sweet love to this young man. She waits. And right? You're all super distracted. You're like, if you never mentioned the age, if you never mentioned it was a woman yelling, if you didn't come back to that detail, you wouldn't have thought about it. Now I'm just thinking, how old was this woman screaming this boy's name? What? Forget the age stuff. You're like, I can't, Jason. You've been talking about that for 7 minutes. Okay, but now forget it. Imagine that, because he said a woman's voice. There's a difference between an adult voice and a girl's voice. And he's described it as a woman's voice. That's why I was focusing on that. But anyways, here's my thing. She dies before they even met. And she saw the life she would never have. Her love story with Adam was never to be. So that was her soul crying out to him. A family they would never have. A life they would never share. It's an interesting theory. And that's the one I thought of when I read this story, but then I forgot the mom heard it too. When I was telling it to you, I was like, oh wait, if maybe that is true, right? Maybe it is this woman screaming out in agony because she doesn't get to spend any time with this young boy, but the mom heard it too. So then I don't really know. Maybe it was a teenage prank gone wrong, but maybe she, I don't know, maybe the mom just has ESP. Maybe she can hear other people's soulmates. I've often wondered about, because, the idea of a soulmate is, it's a beautiful thing. That's an old tradition, right? We are one soul cleved into two, and we spend all of eternity looking for that other half of us. It's a beautiful image. It's a beautiful idea that there is a soulmate out there for you. It's something that I've never believed in. I don't believe in it because of so much death. And, I've said this before. I go, because I don't have these conversations now because obviously I'm older and people stopped hanging out with me. People stopped conversating with me in real life. But when I was in college, I remember I'd have soulmate conversations all the time because I'm hanging out with college girls. And whether or not these are girls that I was actively dating or trying to date or just a friend, we'd have conversations about relationships way more often when I was in college than I do as an adult. I think people are either, sometimes they'll be like, I wish I had a girlfriend. And I was like, yeah. And that's the extent of the conversation as adults. But, when you're in college, we would have these long conversations about all sorts of stuff. Soulmates would come up a lot. And I would say the same thing all the time. I would go, I don't believe in soulmates. Because, and this is always the example I use, I'd say I don't really believe in the aspect of soulmates, as beautiful as that is. I don't believe that everyone has one. And the girl would go, oh, what do you mean? No, everyone has a soulmate. That's the point. And you either wait for that person that will complete you, which I think is a bad philosophy anyways. No human can make you happy. Kamau and Kendra are sitting next to each other. We're a couple. We're a beautiful couple. Why are you going off on this segue? Also, they're both the same age. But here's the thing. I go, what about all those men who died on Normandy, on D-Day? All those 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old men holding their guts in because they got raked by Nazi gunfire coming off of a cliff. Where is their soulmate? I would always use that example. Well, where was their soulmate? I go, does that mean that when you have 500,000 young men gunned down in a conflict, that the women that they were soul joined to, 500,000 women, will now never get to interact with their true soulmate? I mean, this isn't stuff you should bring up if you're trying to get with a girl, but I would. Because we talk about stuff, right? That normal period. There's sleeping with girls, there's dating girls, and then there's just hanging out with them as friends. But, this conversation you should just have with your friends, but I do have it with all sorts of girls. And they'd go, well, I didn't think you were going to bring up the Battle of Normandy during this date. I didn't think you were going to use the term, they got their guts ripped out by gunfire. Who would have thought the Nazis would have been mentioned on the first date? But they would go, well, yeah, they would kind of sit there and they'd think, they'll probably try and reach for their pepper spray. They're just pretending to think as they're digging through their purse. They would go, well, and this is always interesting. They go, well, maybe you have more than one soulmate. So if somebody dies in a very gruesome way, I'm all acting it out in the restaurant. I'm all, what if the guy's like this? I'm all knocking people's food over, flopping my body on the ground. They go, well, maybe someone has more than one soulmate. And I just would go, well, then what's the point then? You don't have, that's kind of not being a soulmate at all. Right? If you have 8 of them, who cares if you don't meet 7 of them? But that was the standard answer. They would either look at me and go, oh yeah, you're right. I never thought about so many young people, mass young people dying, what that would do to their soulmates. And wars aren't just once every 60 years, right? There's quite a few going on right now. So I don't believe in soulmates. As beautiful as that is, I just don't believe in it. Because there's just too many people dying. Now, let's talk about this young couple. Let's go ahead and switch to the next story. Because I do think that's what that was. That's the read I got, even though none of the evidence backs it up. The mom heard it as well. Yeah. That's my take on it, is that it was his soulmate screaming out his name one last time, or technically 3 last times, because she would never be able to say it to his face. The man she was meant to love, she never even got to meet. Kamau and Kendra, I'm going to go ahead and toss you guys keys to the world-famous Carpenter Copter. We're leaving behind this neighborhood. Why don't you fly us all the way out to Minnesota? We're headed all the way out to Minnesota. Specifically, we're headed to St. Paul, Minnesota. And even more specific than that, we're headed to the Goodwill Outlet store in St. Paul, Minnesota. I really wish that I had looked up the reviews for this Goodwill. It didn't occur to me beforehand, but I will do that at some point. I'm going to take a break while I'm recording this episode. I'll see if I have more information for you on that. I have to see Mortal Kombat in 30 minutes, so you might hear my alarm go off. Anyways, it's April 6th, 2026. We're in St. Paul, Minnesota. We're shopping at the Goodwill Outlet with Kamau and Kendra, both in their early 20s, both the same age. Not like those perverts in the last story. The date is April 6th, 2026, a very recent story. On this particular day, Kamau's hanging out at the Goodwill Outlet store. He's just looking for cool stuff. I love to hit up Goodwills, thrift shops. I'm always looking for movies with commentary, DVD commentary, because you can't get that on streaming anymore. But I also just kind of like looking around, seeing if anything catches my eye. I bought like an autographed Quentin Tarantino picture and an autographed... I gave the Quentin Tarantino picture to my buddy, longtime listener of the show, Carson. And then I got a autographed picture of some hunk, like Tom Selleck or some like beefcake guy. And I don't remember who it was. I just remember it was some hairy, muscular guy. Why did you get an autographed picture of a guy you don't remember? Well, here's the thing. I don't remember. Was it Matt Dillon? He's not hairy. But it was like of a beefcake. It was like a famous, handsome actor from the 80s and 90s. And I bought Quentin Tarantino autographed picture, like a big, like an 8x10 of one of this beefcake. You're like, what's describing him like that, Jason? Well, it becomes important in a second. And then I got one of Jessica Alba wearing her suit, or bathing suit from the movie Into the Blue. Anyways, I remember I gave the Quentin Tarantino to my buddy Carson, and then I had a friend come over named Tommy, who's gay, and that's why he kept saying beefcake over and over again. My good friend Tommy, he came over and he was at my place, and he goes, "Why do you have an autographed picture of this dude?" I'm like, "I don't know, about it Goodwill." And he goes, "Oh my God, this is like my favorite actor in the world." I go, "Do you want it?" He's like, yes. And I was like, "Go take it." He's all smooching it. But no, it was some hunk. I bought it just because it was an oddity. I still have the Jessica Alba one. But honestly, if I think about it, I don't even know. I think the signature might have rubbed off by now. Not because I did anything creepy with it, just because it's, been sitting around in a box. But the beefcake is gone. I don't remember who it was. Boy, let's forget about... You're all, Jason, you're lying. You're all crying as Tommy took it away. You're like, "Oh, beefcake. I imagined us having a life together. Now I'm stuck with this ugly Jessica Alba. Boo." Let's get on track. Kamau is not looking at beefcake pictures. Kamau was at the Goodwill Outlet. Not a beefcake to be seen. Instead, he finds a plushie, a stuffed animal of Tom Nook. Now, some of you guys are probably like thrilled I'm about to tell a Tom Nook story. The rest of you are like, "What? Huh?" Yeah, I fall into that second category. I'm vaguely aware of the game Animal Crossing. From what I understand, it's a game for the Switch. It's basically like you get trapped on this island, you're a human, and you're interacting with animals. And it's like, "I need 8 berries to make berry pie. Can you find 8 berries?" "Yeah, sure, Madam Skunk," or whatever. Then you walk around this map and you find 8 berries, and then she does a little dance and she goes, "This is going to be the best berry pie ever." It's about 20 to 40 hours of that. It's like a village simulator, a life simulator. Not unlike, what's that other game I played that I couldn't stand? That I probably did dump 20... I shouldn't say I couldn't stand it, I just didn't get it. I dumped 20 hours into it easy, thinking something was going to happen. It was the one where your dad gives you the farm, and you have to like dig up turnips and cut down trees, and you find you start banging all these girls around town, and then one of them becomes your wife, and then every so often you can go to a cave and fight a slime. What game is that called? A Village Man or something like that. Super famous. I know a bunch of people are typing it into the comments right now. First off, Jason, you don't bang any of those women. I don't know what mod you had installed. It's like that. It's like that game. I can't remember. Just like that beefcake. I don't remember. It's an animal game. It's a village slice of life game. I've heard about it. You might sound like I'm talking about it dismissively, and I'm not. It's just not my style of game. But the reason why Animal Crossing has kind of crossed over into Dead Rabbit Radio Land is every so often it gets involved in creepypasta. And some of it isn't even creepypasta. They're just theories about the game. Something I've heard over the years that Animal Crossing, the world, seems like it's this picture-perfect, colorful life, but there's a dark undertone hidden in the game. I've heard a lot of people say that over the years. They go, yeah, it is supposed to be like a village life simulator, but there's actually a dark undercurrent. And that's why I got this stupid game where I was picking turnips and fighting slimes. Because people go, yeah, man, that game gets real dark. 20 hours, nothing happened. Oh, I fought some slimes and I got to the desert. But I was waiting for, like, one of the girls I was banging to, like, turn into a monster or something like that. Like, I was staying up late at night in the video game thinking something bad was going to happen. Like, maybe my dead ghost would chase me around. No, it just had more turnips to pick the next day. I kept waiting for something to happen that, to be fair, the game never says happens. But I kept hearing these fan theories over the years. I go, I'll give that turnip game a try, whatever it's called. Animal Crossing. Tom Nook is a major character in the game. Now, again, I've always heard him referred to as a dark, tortured soul. I don't know how much accurate this is. He's an evil capitalist who keeps everyone in the island into some sort of debt slavery. No matter what you do, you always owe money to Tom Nook. I don't know how accurate that is. Because, like, again, I hear that stuff and I go, oh, okay, maybe. But then I have a memory of pulling a turnip out of the ground for 20 hours. I was like, I'm not falling for that again. Is Tom Nook a sinister character, or is people just reading too much into it? Who knows? But I wanted to give you that background, because some people will swear up and down that it's a dark game or has a dark undertone and Tom Nook is the bad guy. Other people go, no, he's just the guy that loans you money. Whatever the case, whether or not the Tom Nook character, who is like a tanuki or like a Japanese raccoon dog type animal, whatever the case he is in the video game, when Kamau buys this Tom Nook plushie, as cute as it looks, it is anything but good. Or wait, no, am I saying that wrong? It is anything but evil. Does that mean that's just... Wait. It is evil! It's evil, however you say it. He thinks he's getting a cute Tom Nook plushie. There's going to be no internet debates over whether or not he is capitalism unleashed. This plushie is evil. I think. That would be my theory. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot. You were doing a paranormal podcast. You were talking about beefcakes and video games for so long. Yeah, sorry. And then I'm going to leave in like 10 minutes to go watch Mortal Kombat. But let's see. I don't want to rush this. I'll just come back and finish the ending if I don't get it done by then. And I haven't really even started the story. I got to get started here. So, Kamau buys Tom Nook for his girlfriend Kendra. She likes Animal Crossing. She's a fan. And he goes, listen, you know, it looked brand new. Goodwills usually have a reputation for having dirty stuffed animals. Here's the thing, Kamau, I get it. You're buying something nice for your girlfriend, but you also are, you know, you're playing the gambling game. It's like buying puzzles or board games at Goodwill. You have a very high level of faith in humanity that they're going to include all 1,000 pieces. The sign of an optimist is you buy puzzles at Goodwill. Plushies, you know, I've bought plushies at Goodwill, but you do think, like, is this covered in scabies? Was someone have some sort of horrible disease and was rubbing this against their body? Oh, this is the only thing that can make these open, weeping wounds better. Rubbing Tom Nook on them. And then they eventually donate it to Goodwill. Anyways, whatever the case, he buys this for Kendra. She goes, oh, Animal Crossing? I love Animal Crossing. Gives it a big hug. Why is it moist? Kamau, were you sweating on this thing? He's like, what? No, he's sitting next to me in the car. It's the previous owner's bus. But anyways, he gives it to Kendra. And she says, there's something off about it. She kind of gets like this feeling about it. She can't really put her finger on it specifically. She just said it's giving off a weird kind of energy. And she goes, I appreciate the present. That's really nice, Kamau, but would you mind keeping it at your place for now? I want to cleanse it because I really think there's some negative energy attached to this. Keep it at your place for now. I mean, I think there's a demon hiding inside of it. Sleep next to it. Put it next to you in bed. She says she wants to get some Palo Santo wood, which is a traditional type of wood that is used for cleansing a place or an object. It's known as sacred wood or holy wood. Also, it can keep insects away. I looked it up. It's a good insect repellent. Because it's natural, right? It's just you're burning this sweet smell. I'm assuming it's sweet-smelling fragrance. So she goes, I want to take care of this right away, but until I do, Kamau, would you mind keeping it at your place? And he's like, yeah, sure, because he doesn't get a weird feeling from it at all. And he goes, the week that I got this, the week that this all started, I wasn't really paying attention to anything. He said it was the week of my birthday. So I was actually, kind of busy, kind of distracted. I didn't notice anything, is what he's saying. It could have started the night he brought it home. He goes, but I really wasn't paying attention to anything. He says, Tom Nook just sat on the floor in my bedroom, not a big deal. But now we're in the week of April 13th, 2026. He says I'd wake up in the morning, and one of the posters I'd have on my wall, a beefcake poster, one of the posters I had on my wall would have fallen off in the middle of the night. And I didn't think anything of it, right? Didn't think anything of it. I go, oh, maybe the fasteners came loose. It's probably, puts posters in plastics. That's what a lot of people do now, the plastic frame to protect it. He goes, oh, the fasteners must come loose. So he doesn't really think anything of it. He takes the poster, puts it back up on the wall. But then another night goes by and another poster is on the ground when he wakes up. And he's like, well, that's weird. Maybe the fasteners are... That would be your normal reaction. At this point, you wouldn't think anything paranormal. But now we're in this time period where the posters are falling off of the wall. Kamau says, I started to notice something was different in my apartment. Kendra grew up in a haunted house. He goes, she really believes in all this stuff. She's not an idiot. She doesn't believe in everything, but she had a different experience than I did growing up. Her family home is haunted. So the fact that she's picking up some sort of negative energy early on tracks for her history, right? Her childhood. For Kamau, he goes, I just don't even know how to... Kamau goes, something was off. I didn't know exactly what it was. I know Kendra would come over to spend the night, and I would have a hard time falling asleep. Both of us would. And that was one thing, but Kendra begins to have these hyper-realistic nightmares. Kamau, apologies if I've mispronounced the name multiple times, Kamau says Kendra would have these nightmares, but only when she stayed at my place. So at this point, we're still in week 2 of having this thing. Whether or not anything happened in the first week outside of Kendra's initial, there's some uneasiness about it, we don't know. Now we're in week 2, posters are falling off the wall, the energy is weird, Kendra's having nightmares. Kamau is still not really thinking, oh, there's something wrong with Tom Nook, specifically as far as I can tell, because he hasn't done anything with it. He actually takes it off the floor and puts it in a laundry basket. And now Tom Nook is facing the bed that they're sleeping in. He's like eye-level view. And Kendra goes, no, please move that. That's what's causing all of this stuff. And I told you I wanted to cleanse it. I said, keep it here. I didn't say put it on a pedestal so we can watch us sleep. And Kamau goes, okay, yeah, probably not a good idea. So he takes Tom Nook and he puts him in his walk-in closet. It's April 30th, May 1st, that evening. Kamau hears the sound of something falling in his closet. And then glass go tsh. Now he knows there is something made of glass in his closet. He knows what he heard. And it's not good. In his closet, he had this framed poster for the movie The Exorcist. It had a frame and it was under glass, and it was a movie poster for The Exorcist. And the poster says, in case of possession, break glass. The image of the poster is of like a holy amulet. And it's fashioned like one of those emergency boxes. You break this in case of fire. And the image of the poster shows the glass has been broken. Like, because someone's been possessed. The exorcist has already happened. But when it's framed under glass, you bought this at Spirit Halloween store. Well, I mean, you can buy them there. I don't know if that's where he got his. Might have got it as a Goodwill outlet. But the image is of broken glass. But then he has glass on top of it, which is not broken. What? Just roll with me, bro. Just roll with me. Mortal Kombat starts in 10 minutes. The glass is on top of the image. The picture is broken glass, but there's not broken glass on top of it. Kamau, who says he's a longtime listener of Dead Rabbit Radio. I don't know if he did this as a dare, if he wasn't thinking, but he definitely hasn't been paying attention to the show. When he took Tom Nook into his walk-in closet, he put Tom Nook on the shelf the opposite of the Exorcist poster. A movie that I've never watched. And honestly, it's not because I think it's too scary. I think, one, it's been over-parodied, and I think it would lose its impact. But two, you want to talk about cursed media, that's probably one of them. There's something wrong with that movie. We did that episode about The Exorcist 3, inspiring Jeffrey Dahmer. I'll put it in the show notes, but there's something wrong with that whole franchise. Anyways, Kamau takes a possibly possessed, definitely cursed stuffed animal and puts it on the shelf across from the glass-framed poster of the movie The Exorcist. And even if he has listened to every episode of Dead Rabbit Radio, what was Tom Nook doing to the other posters in his house? Knocking them off the wall. So I don't know if he did this as a dare, but I almost feel like if you took a possessed item or a haunted item and made it look at its own reflection, its own face in the glass, you're asking for trouble. No offense, Kamau. But I doubt if you had told Kendra what you were doing, she would have let you do it. So how do we not put him next to the framed reflective glass of the Exorcist poster? Well, anyways, he opens his walk-in closet, and sure enough, the Exorcist poster fell to the ground, the glass shattered. And he sent me a photo of this. It only shattered where the image on the poster is. It's super weird. I had to look up an original version of the poster and then look at his picture. Because at first glance, it just looks like chaos down there. But sure enough, his poster fell off the wall and cracked, and the glass broke, but only in the same location of where the glass break is drawn on the poster that says, in case of possession, break glass. And all these photos are going to be in the show notes for you to look at. Well, I saw Mortal Kombat. I'll interrupt this story to say Mortal Kombat 2 was awesome. It's totally worth the wait. I loved it. Lots of good action scenes. It was almost all action. Very gory. But that's not why you're like, okay, Jason, we get it. You really like Mortal Kombat. For some reason, we're learning that for the first time in 7 years of the podcast. You've never mentioned Mortal Kombat once before, and apparently you love it so much you'll interrupt an episode to go watch it at the theater and then come back. Finish the story. Yes, I will. I will finish this. Was that a Mortal Kombat reference? I tried. Anyways, after this happened, Kendra was like, dude, okay, maybe it's time for me to actually cleanse this thing. And knocks over this poster and cracked the glass right where it says, in case of possession, break glass. Maybe I should take care of this thing. So she does get her Palo Santa wood, and she does a banishing. She's sitting there with the... I've never used it before. I would assume it's similar to Sage, where you burn it and you kind of move it around the object. But it could be something different. I'm too busy watching Mortal Kombat 2 to research it, but I'm assuming that's what it is. And she said this banishing that I will read to you here. It's a short one. She repeated it a few times. Quote, I banish any negative energy from this space, and I call upon Archangel Michael to please guide and protect this space. with only energies that are of love and light. She said that a few times. To banish whatever spirits here. And Kamau's next sentence in his email said, quote, sadly, we think that this might have agitated the entity even more, unquote. Which does happen, no matter how good you are. I don't know Kendra's skill level, but it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or an expert at it. Sometimes it doesn't work. The night that she did this banishing spell, Kendra stays over at Kamau's house, and as Kendra is trying to fall asleep, she keeps hearing someone whisper right into her ear very loudly, You! Wait, that's not a whisper. Let me try that. You. Like right in her ear. And she's like, seriously? Yes, it was me trying to banish Tom Nook's spirit. That night while she's hearing this, she feels like something's trying to grab her legs. She's laying there in bed and she can keep feeling the sensation someone's trying to grab on her legs, so much so that she woke up Kamau. Honey, quit grabbing my legs. He's like, what? He's not doing it. He's asleep. He didn't get a lot of sleep either. His girlfriend keeps waking him up. Why is someone grabbing my legs and whispering you? May 3rd, Kamau goes to work, and Kendra, after seeing him off, goes back to sleep. And she said while she was sleeping in his bed, she was woken up by an extremely loud growl directly in her ear. So at this point, he emailed me all of that, I believe on May 5th, if I'm correct. I can double check that real quick. But he said, listen, here's the thing. We're pretty convinced at this point, there's not a doubt in our mind, actually, that there's something wrong with Tom Nook. And they're trying to figure out how to get rid of it. This is something we've talked about a lot on the show. This is something we've talked a lot about just... He sent me this email on May 3rd, I apologize. He sent it to me on May 3rd, so it was pretty much the day after the thing is whispering in her ear. The thing is growling in her ear. Yeah, he ends the email. Shortly after I left for work this morning, Kendra went back to sleep and she said she was woken up by an extremely loud growl. I will mention I do have a pet cat, but she's very timid and would never growl at someone. Unquote. So yeah, what they're looking for, a lot of times, let me go back to my original comment, a lot of times in paranormal experts, and, I've been asked this question, I'm not an expert, but, I've been asked this question, and other real experts have been asked this question. I think I have a cursed item, how do I get rid of it? Kamau and Kendra have an interesting, this is the proper way, or one of the proper ways to do it. They're trying to find a place, whether it's a museum or a shop, that will take cursed items. The irresponsible thing would be to just take it back to Goodwill. Donate it. That would be irresponsible. Burning it could be dangerous. A lot of times people will try to destroy the item, but since you don't know what's in there, how it got bound in the first place, or any of that, that's probably the least safe, most dangerous option, is to try to destroy the item. You don't want to keep it, though. You don't want to pass it on to another person and them not know. Some people can try selling them on eBay. Museums will take them. And what really sucks? I wanted to email Kamau back. I wanted to email Kamau about this, but I don't remember where I saw it. I think it was when I was doing my haunted underwear speech for the Oregon Ghost Conference. I'll try digging through my notes again. But there was a museum that did take cursed items. They just took them. You could send them off to them because someone was trying to get rid of a pair of boots. I think it was a pair of haunted boots. And people said, oh no, there's this museum you can send them to. And I was trying to find the name of that museum. And I just couldn't locate it again. But there are places that will take them. For sure. And know how to safely store them. That's the key, right? How are they going to store these items? Are they going to keep them safe? Are they just going to pawn them off on someone? You could sell it on eBay and you could probably make a tidy profit, but first off, most people just don't want to go through the process of selling something on eBay. And even if you do make $50-$60, you realize a lot of times people buy stuff. We bought Veronica the Haunted Doll on eBay a long time ago. And people ask me still every so often, has that doll ever done anything? And no, No, I'm looking at it right now. She's just kind of hanging out with the gingerbread man on the background, where I usually do all my TikToks, which I haven't done in a while. But Kamau could write exactly what happened with that doll, and someone buys it and go, I don't believe in this stuff. I'm just buying it because I really like Tom Nook and I want to pay extra money because it's a ghost. It's Tom Nook. And then they have a worse situation, and they don't have the skills that Kendra has. Kendra made it matter, Jason. They better hope they don't have the skills Kendra has. Again, that has nothing to do with skill level. It can just be the power of what's in the item. But yeah, I think it would be better at a lot of times to give it to an expert who knows how to contain it or knows how to safely get rid of it in some way than to sell it on eBay. Because yeah, you can make another $50, $100 off of it. People will pay premium prices for haunted items. But they may be buying it for the wrong reasons. They may be buying it and they don't believe in it. And now they're going to have all of these issues at their house as well. I don't want it. I mean, here's the thing. That's why I don't consider myself a paranormal expert. I mean, you could go with Jason. Yeah, you could have it and you could study it. Well, I could, but I also have a bunch of posters on my wall. Jason, what, a Mortal Kombat 2 poster? You're afraid it's going to roll up and fall off the wall? Take your job more seriously. I don't want possessed items coming into my house. I bought Veronica the doll. It was a test. And I bought her because it lists how she was haunted, and it was like the lamest stuff. No offense, Veronica. But it was stuff like, oh, sweet smells or the sound of a woman walking around in your apartment. So, okay, that's cool. The other dolls that I passed up were things like they woken up with something's growling in your ear and grabbing your legs. I don't want to buy that doll. I don't want Tom Nook coming over. Plus, I also heard he's a greedy capitalist. He'll lock you into debt slavery. Interesting story, though. Really interesting story. This personal experience that's happening to people like you, right? Kamau and Kendra listen to the podcast, and they're experiencing this right now. And we're going to cover 2 more of these. Tomorrow's episode, we're going to have another listener-submitted paranormal story. It's the story of a young family that I've mentioned many times on this show. Art and Maria, they come out to all the movie nights. Art and Maria and their son Artorius live in a house, an apartment that is so haunted, it nearly destroys them and almost costs them the life of their own child. So basically, Kamau and Kendra, you guys got a pretty good deal. All you guys got was growling, grabbing, and a broken poster. Tomorrow we'll talk about Art and Maria. And they sent me that story maybe like a year or 2 ago. I finally was like, let's do that. Let's do a user-generated week. And then next week I have another story about another family that listens to Dead Rabbit Radio a lot. And I met them at the Oregon Ghost Conference. Robert, and Maria, actually. Same Robert and Maria. And their son, Robert. It's a chilling story where an urban legend... Their story's crazy, too. Story of an urban legend meeting a conspiracy theory. And it all happened in their backyard. But yeah, I'm really jazzed about all of this user-generated stories. I love hearing your guys' stuff. And you know me, I love talking about the rare stuff no one else is talking about. Nothing's more rare than a first-person account someone sends to me. So, really, really love all this stuff. But you know what I really love? Is Mortal Kombat 2. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.